Hello everyone and welcome to the highlights of round 1 of the Flat6 Series Championship hosted by UnitedRacersLeague.com. We are at Watkins Glen, running the short layout for the first round of the Sprint Series. That's a 45-minute sprint race around this short track, and the first qualifying session was very close, with Mikko Korkiakoski taking the pole with a 109.7, followed by Lorenzo Tortella 2/10 behind, and Joona Karima rounding up the top 3. The rest of the field was very close, with the top 15 within 1.6 seconds of the pole man. So it was set to be a very good race around this very short track, but with lots of passing opportunities. So let's have a look at the highlights of the race. So here we are on the grid at Watkins Glen. Lorenzo Tortella in the yellow car on the right, Mikko Korkiakoski on the pole position in the white and blue car on the left. Here we go. The whole field spreads out and dives down into turn 1. It's all clean for now, it seems. They're going 3 wide here with Joona, Peter Backus and Miguel Carao. There is some touch in the background with Simon Fillingham and Frank Cosi involved, but the rest of the field gets through cleanly, it seems. Oh, a bit of a spin from Nikola Simic there. Went over the curb. Mikko still keeping his first position for now, but he has to give the inside to Lorenzo Tortella. Yeah, oh, he hits the curb and he will lose out there. Yes, indeed. So Lorenzo Tortella up to first position. Miguel Korkiakoski down into 5th, I think. Can Florian Kutz go around the outside of Tony Ukic? Not for the moment. He has to slot back in behind in the Haribo car. Peter Backus is in 4th position, and this whole top 10 is very close at the end of lap 1. So here is the standings at the end of lap 1. Stephen Duke did not start the race. Nikola Simic had to retire his car after a crash on the straight. So here's the whole field, still pretty bunched up at the front. Some bigger gaps at the back, but that will not be any issue for all of these drivers. Here's Frank Cosi returning from his incident with Simon Fillingham. So now Tony Ukic was in 2nd position behind Lorenzo Tortella. Can he go around the outside to gain 1st position? Let's see, this is lap 3 of the race, and yes, he can. Lorenzo gives him a bit of room, and Tony doesn't have to be asked twice, so he takes 1st position. A couple of laps later, Miguel Carao had a bit of a slide, went wide in turn 1, and Ivan Gridello could get past him easily in front or just before the straight. And then this whole pack of cars at the front battling for the lead, with Lorenzo Tortella at the front. Then Tony Ukic, Peter Backus, Mikko Korkiakoski, etc. Oh, that's Tony taking the lead away again, and Mikko Korkiakoski now in 4th position, if I see that correctly. Here's the onboard view from Robert Horvat. That's Joona Karima going over the curb just like Mikko did before, and he will lose out to Robert, who is now in P6. Then driving with our newcomer Jonas Lagesson just in front of Maino Liguori. He leaves open the inside, counts on his late braking, but it seems he goes a little bit too wide at turn 1, doesn't hit the apex, and that gives Maino the opportunity to go up the inside here through the S's and get out in front on the straight. Can he also defend from Jonas? That will be the question, but it seems he could. Here's Simon Fillingham following Jonas Lagesson. So he's dropping back very slowly. First being passed by Manuel, now a slight mistake, a bit too wide there. Simon Fillingham avoiding action on the grass, but still managing to get around the outside of him. So in 3rd position is Florian Kutz, and Mikko Korkiakoski goes over the curb as well. Collects Miguel Carao and will have to retire from the race, unfortunately. So Jona is also recovering after a scrappy first laps, getting past Manuel Liguori, it seems. Yes, Manuel went a bit wide there, and that gives Jona 10th position. So up into the top 10, Greg Metcalf and Miguel Markovic then. A lot of moves being done here into turn 1. Oh, Greg stalling the engine after a bit of a spin contact with Miguel, and he loses out on some positions, unfortunately. He now has to defend from Jona and Manuel Liguori. Will he be able to do so through the chicane? They're side by side. Oh, bit of a tap there from Jona, and it will be Greg Metcalf missing out and losing out on positions, unfortunately, but he will have some good battles later on. This is a battle that will rage on for the whole race. Miguel Santiago versus Miguel Markovic for 7th position at the moment. Miguel is in front here. He's on the outside. Keeps it there. Seems he can. Can he now turn in early and keep first position? Yes, he can. So Miguel passes Miguel for P7 at the moment. And we see Ivan Gridello just in front. Lorenzo Tortella was not giving up on getting that first position back from Tony Ukic. Here we are riding on board with him. Has a look on the inside. Oh, very late braking. Big lockup, but he keeps it on the track, forces Tony wide, but takes first position away from Tony Ukic. And just after that, Tony tried to get back past in the slipstream of Lorenzo Tortella. We're still in the opening 10 laps of this race. Oh, Lorenzo gives him a bit of room. Oh, that's Tony losing out and rejoining in 3rd position. So now Florian Kutz is the one to hunt down Lorenzo for first place. Here are the standings in lap 11 of this race. So 1, 2, 3. We already saw that battle. Then Robert Horvat is in 5th behind Peter Bacchus at the moment. Then Ivan Gridello. Miguel Santiago Carao, we saw him getting past Miguel Markovic. Then Manuel Liguori and Jona Karima also in a heated battle. We'll see more of them later on. Jonas Lagesson made it up to P11 in his first race, passing Simon Fillingham and Greg Metcalf, the teammates. Then Sandro Donadel in 14th position and another newcomer, Martin Brandon, in 15th position. Jona Karima having a bit of braking issue going onto the grass, and at the same time, just in front of them, Miguel was now very much side by side with Miguel Santiago Carao. Right on the gearbox. Will he be able to brake late enough and get past again? Absolutely side by side. Can Miguel keep the inside line, or will Miguel go around the outside here? He stays there, he stays there. He wants to be there because the next one is a left-hander, but he's slightly behind, so he will have to stay behind. And then on the next lap, the battle still raged on. Miguel made a slight mistake in the chicane, as we saw many others do already, and that gives Manlio and Jona the opportunity to get past. Florian Kutz then still trying to get past Lorenzo Tortella, and they're coming up on Martin Brandon to lap him. Lorenzo slightly held up by Martin there on the apex of the last turn. Can Florian brake late here into turn 1 and get the move done? Goes a bit wide there, but Lorenzo didn't have the best turn 1 either, so Florian is still very close. Well, Florian seems to have good speed. Can he take advantage of the slipstream, or will Lorenzo close the door? He leaves the inside open here, but of course it's the bus stop chicane, so... Oh, that's Florian indeed getting past Lorenzo. and Tony Ukic right on his tail. Now, will he lose another position, Lorenzo, or can he keep second position? Then here, 13th spot for Greg Metcalf, and that's his teammate Simon filling him up front. He's missing a splitter, so he leaves his teammate Greg some room to get past into 12th and hunt down the guys in front, which are Iona Karima and Manuel Liguori, among others. They are in a heated battle just behind Miguel Santiago Carao, with Mihovil Markovic just behind them. Oh, side by side, big lock up there. Big slide from Manuel Liguori, and Iona Karima gets through in the 888 Raging Racing. And in the front, it got closer and closer and closer as Florian didn't have the greatest exit out of turn 1. Lorenzo goes for the inside to retake first position. Will he be able to do so? Tony Ukic is right up there to take advantage of any mistakes these guys make. So it's a top 3 separated by less than half a second. Lorenzo takes first position away from Florian Kutz once again, but he will be vulnerable here on the straight, getting up to the bus stop chicane. Yeah, now keeps to the inside, unlike last time, and Tony has a lot of speed there. Big lock up again by Lorenzo, and Florian going over the curb, hitting the curb there very hard and losing the position to Tony Ukic, but Florian would get back to him. Here's side-by-side action. Oh, but Florian hits Tony slightly, then has to leave Peter Bacchus through or not. He retakes the inside line, Florian, but he will have to leave Peter Bacchus go. It was a bit of a forceful move on Tony Ukic, but here we are, third position for Florian Kutz, and Peter Bacchus now suddenly in second. Robert Horvat and Tony Ukic absolutely side by side. Oh, and a big mistake onto the grass from Florian Kutz, giving these two that position. So Tony Ukic is back in front of Robert and in third spot. So very eventful few laps here for these guys in the top 5, with Lorenzo Tortella taking the advantage and having a bit of a gap. Then Mihovil Markovic came up onto the back of Manuel Liguori. Looks at the inside line here for turn 1. And look at all those skid marks of people locking up these brakes without ABS. Very tricky to get the car stopped, especially when in battles and not on the racing line. Iona Karima was just in front of Mandio and Mihovil, battling here with Miguel Santiago Carao and getting past, it seems, side by side again through the bus stop. It's a miracle that not big accidents have taken place here. And Tony Ukic in third position, chasing down Peter Bacchus, getting past Sandro Donadel, and seems Peter lost out there a bit of speed lost on the last turn. That's how Lorenzo lost the lead to Florian Kutz earlier on. Can Tony get it stopped? Yes, he can. So P2 for Tony Ukic once again. He's a GT1 champion in GTR2, so he knows what it takes to win the race. Oh, but he makes a mistake, breaks on the grass and has to go straight. He will leave Peter Bacchus some room to get past. Oh, they have a bit of a scrap. Can Robert now take advantage of the speed loss of Tony? Tony will defend the inside here, but will it be enough? Robert goes around the outside. He's on the inside now for the last turn, so should be able to make this. And yes, he can. So Tony Ukic back into fourth position, and we see Lorenzo Tortella just in front, but eking out a gap. He's on his own, let's say. And Tony, a couple of laps later, doing the over-under on Robert Horvat and getting past once again. So This is an absolutely crazy race. The whole field in battles, back and forth, side by side. Like here for 12th position or 11th position, Greg Metcalf looking at the inside of Jonas Lagesson, but leaving some room on the outside as he needs to do, so he will have to try again a bit later on. Jonas Lagesson having a good first race. Here's Greg again going up to the bus stop chicane. He has quite some speed, he's on the inside, but opts not to go for the move. Good defending there by Jonas for now, but Greg is very persistent, and the next lap he would have another look at the inside now, going for it over the curb and making the pass on Jonas Lagesson for 11th position. So on lap 25 now only, Lorenzo Tortella in the lead with quite a good gap to Peter Backus. He's a bit on his own as well. Now we have Tony Ukic and Robert Horvat battling it out still. Very hard fought race. Florian Kutz regaining his pace and catching up to these two. Then Ivan Gridello in a bit of a lonely space there, followed by Jona Karima, Miguel Santiago Carao, Mihovil Markovic. Magda Liguori is a bit further behind these guys than Greg Metcalf. We saw him just getting past Jonas Lagesson, and his teammate Simon Fillingham is not too far back. So everything still to play for, with Sandro Donadel and Martin Brandon rounding up the running cars down to P15. So then everything started to happen. Florian Kutz had a bit of a move in turn 1 and hit Robert Horvat around. He will get going again, but Ivan Gridello will get a lot closer now once again, and Florian Kutz will wait for Robert Horvat later on in this lap, so that will bunch the whole field back up. Florian Kutz, Ivan Gridello, Robert Horvat and Jona Karima just behind these guys will all be on the same piece of tarmac and battling for that 4th position just outside of the top 3. So Ivan Gridello still chasing down Florian Kutz, and let's see if that missing splitter doesn't affect Robert too much, but we see Simon Fillingham is also running without a front splitter. Here's Florian slowing down in a safe place to leave Robert through once again after that small tap. That was an unfair advantage, so fair play to Florian, and he will try again, and he will try again very, very hard, as we will see right now. So here's Florian trying to get up the inside of Robert. Ivan is just in front of these guys, and they're almost 3 wide. Jona Karima now also on the inside of his teammate. But positions don't change for the moment. Robert defending, he's quite slow in the turns. No front downforce, but he's very fast on the straights. So will Florian and Jona, the 2 teammates of Raging Racing, be able to get past Robert and get some valuable points for the team. Oh, some paint trading there, but everybody keeps it on the track for now. Robert has the inside to defend from Florian though, so if he gets the braking right, oh, big lock up. Can Florian get speed around the outside? Well, that would be a bit too much there around the outside, but he has to slot him back behind. And the battle kept going on and on and on. The last 15 minutes of this race, very hard braking by Florian, late move, but he gets it done, and then they will go 3 wide into these S's with Jona Karima losing out. But they get going quite quickly again, so Florian is not saved from these guys yet. Here's Jona trying to get past Robert Horvat now, with Florian a bit further down the road. He has to try and get up the inside here, which he does, almost driving on the grass, but that's where you need to be here. So you have the best line through this fast left-right end of the lap, and get a good move going into onto the straight and onto turn 1. For now he has to stay behind. Oh, Robert goes a bit wide, misses the apex slightly, and that's Jona Karima going through. So it's 4th and 5th position for Raging Racing at the moment with Pannonia Racing Team. Robert Horvat getting a bit of a bump there, but Jonas stays in front. Ivan Gridello and Florian Kutz now. Florian really wants to get that 4th position. So this was battling with Ivan. Very good drive by him for now, very consistent. He was in a lonely place in the middle of the race, but he knows what to do now. Defending from Florian Kutz, part of the championship winning team in the GT1 series here at UnitedRacersLeague.com. So Ivan will have his work cut out for him, but he stays in front for now. A lot of paint rating going on. That white car has some black spots on it, and the black car has some white spots. Through the bus stop chicane, Florian keeps it very, very tidy. Can he go up the inside just like Jona did? Yes, he can, and he makes a bit better move than Jona, so he will end up in front, it seems. Yes, he does. So P4 for Florian Kutz at the moment, and this race is far from over yet. But let's shift back to another battle just behind these guys. P9 and P8, Mihovil Markovic versus Miguel Santiago Carao. They were battling already earlier on in this race, and here they are again side by side, and now Mihovil getting past Miguel for now. But Miguel is not giving up that easily at the moment. He seems to be a bit faster in the last sector, whereas Mihovil is faster in the first sector of the lap. So Miguel getting a good exit out of the last turn, and down the inside he goes to retake that position a couple of laps later. Can Mihovil get into the slipstream and regain that position? That will be the question. P8 is a very good position to get some points for the teams. So these two drivers driving alone for the moment in their team. Nikola Simic, the teammate of Mihovil Markovic, already retired from the race, and Michal Klisch not driving in this first round of the championship. Still very, very tight racing. Here's Miguel on the second to last lap, so getting into the last lap. Oh, slightly missing the apex there, just like Robert Horvat did before, and that will give Miguel some advantage to get up the inside and keep that position. Although Mihovil has a good exit. Will they go side by side through the S's? I think they will. Yes, they do. So 2 wide is possible, 3 wide is a bit difficult, as we saw earlier. Still absolutely side by side. Can Mihovil gain some more speed in the draft? Miguel defends the inside line, but in that bus stop chicane anything can happen. As we saw, Mihovil opts to go for the safest option, and he slots in behind Miguel. So here is the end of the race. Lorenzo Tortella had his work cut out for him to gain first position, but then could run away with it, with all the other guys battling very hard. Peter Bacchus made it up to P2, and Tony Ukic makes up the final podium spot. Florian Kutz then is in 4th position, and behind him it's Ivan Gridello and Jona Karima, and Jona wants to get past very, very desperately here on the very last laps. Just 2 corners to go until the end of this race. They are side by side. Can Jona get that spot and gain some points for the team? His teammate is right up the road. Ivan is defending very well here at the moment. On board with Jona to go through the last turn. Oh, he got onto the power very early to make a move, but there was no room for him then into the gearbox of Ivan Gridello. So Robert Horvat will finish right behind them, and then the battle between Miguel and Mihovil ended with Miguel on top. Minor League Wadi will round up the top 10 with Greg Metcalf just behind, followed by Jonas Lagesson finishing his first race here at URL. Simon Fillingham in 13th. Then Sando Donadel will finish in 15th, and Martin Brandon, another finisher of the newcomers. And here's our race winner for the first round, Lorenzo Tortella, doing some donuts at Watkins Glen. So looks to be a promising season for everyone. Good racing, strong driving, and the racing will only get better. Here are the final results of this race. So Lorenzo eked out a 15-second gap to Peter, who had a lonely second part of the race, but he had his work cut out for him in the first part. So very good driving by everyone. And next week it's already time for round 2. For the we're going to Barber Motorsports Park. We're running the Indy layout, so a longer track than Watkins Glen, a lot more turns, a lot more elevation changes, so very tricky to keep the cars on the track, at least here. So everybody will have to start practicing here to get another sprint series race under their belt and some good championship points. So next week is the next race. You can follow us to get the highlights videos, or you can join us at unitedracersleague.com to get racing with us. There is still some spaces left on the grid, so join us for some epic racing in these flat 6 cars. See you next week.